this win. They solidify it right here. They've got to bring their best game forward right now. They did great against Native Red yesterday, going to a game number 5. They won it out. They've got to do it again today. They've got to bring their best performances. And honestly, to be honest with you, Tony, I've got to focus on one player on this Quadrant roster, and that's going to be Chick. He's the X factor for me. If this man can pop off, we've got a great series on our hands.
You know, not only is he your X factor, I got the chance to sit down with Gaskin and Jersey. He's their X factor as well. They say that the team goes the way he goes, so I'm really happy that you point out Chick. I'm going to make sure I keep my eyes on him as far as Quadrant. With Oxygen, I'm going to change it up just a little bit. Give me Collect, the young gun, the new one to the roster. I'm going to be honing in on that matchup between Chick and Collect.
Collect, not a lot of time with this roster. Common formerly on this Oxygen Esports team, but Collect comes in at the very last minute. And it seems that he's been a great addition to this roster. His individual skill, his aggression has really paid off thus far.
Chick able to get away with that shock rifle. We know how important that can be, but you got to keep hold of it. And the trade goes in. Bottom A now being stolen away by Oxygen Esports. Quadrant already found himself 2 down, and Nurix find himself on a flank.
Nurix is not only on the flank position, but he's in a very good position. He was on that top area of the map, and he's able to provide so much pressure. 2 down right now for Oxygen, so Nurix is going to take advantage of that, and he gets the 3rd.
Nurix right behind enemy lines. Oxygen Esports once again find himself 3 down, and immediately Nurix, without any timing loss whatsoever, hops in towards that A side, moves in for the triple cap. We always talk about the aggression of Oxygen Esports. Let's talk about that objective efficiency out of Quadrant.
The objective efficiency is huge, but you've got to be careful with the triple cap, because if you go too hard on it, you can overextend, and it can pay dividends for the other team.
Shots go in, not able to get the kill. That's a huge one by trying, a bit of a pin. You got that shock rifle out of their hands. We've seen that be the difference maker in the 26 seconds. We're going to see active camouflage be the difference maker as well.
Someone who I'm looking to be a difference maker is the player you talked about, Collect. He's starting off a little bit slow. 0-3 in this game. That doesn't really set the tone, but it's always good to start strong. Quadrant have full control of the map right now, and SLG doing his best to play this C-plat role.
Collect. Me and him got the same amount of kills right now. What's going on here? Oh, man, you got to get in the game. We've been calling you the young gun. We've been calling you the prodigy. You got to put it to work with that active camouflage coming up. Not able to hit with the shock rifle, but comes in quick with the BR. Takes to the skies, and just like that, he's doubled the triple. Wait, 0 times 100. He might have 100 times his kills when 3 down go Quadrant.
This is what we like to see on a Collect, and with the tool in his hand and that shock rifle, with so much ammo to utilize. Honestly, this is what you like to see from Collect, and we got to continue to see this if we want to see Oxygen win.
Oxygen Esports have the double cap, looking to come back in this game, but you're down by quite a bit. Why don't we hop into the comms of Oxygen Esports and find out what they're going to do fresh off of that 3 down.
I'm looking here, K, if they come to you.
We got wood. Another one. C-plat. Help.
Top red now, and then B.
Nice. Live K. Live K.
R2, R2.
R2.
One shot R2. R2's dead.
Nice.
I can push that. I can push it.
Live. We're holding C.
That legend. That legend. Hey,
we left C. We left C. That's good.
We're coming.
Good job in A.
One shot.
A.
NBR.
Back.
Elevator, one shot.
Gotta kill elevator.
Watching bottom.
Jumped out. One shot. Nice. They're gonna
Going
push
back to red.
red.
I'm going back to red. I'm watching the cross. They're already in B. I can go turn around if you can go balance.
They're B.
He's already glass. Already glass. Big door weak. Big door weak. No, they got it.
He's got B here. Glass. Live.
Gold stairs, one shot. BR and gold stairs. BR and gold stairs. BR now. They're gonna be glow on you.
Big door. Mid-bridge.
Yeah, wheel and BR. Wheel and BR.
Top BR. One shot.
R1 now.
Dead.
R1 just watching
You're
turbine.
2 dead. Ammo 15.
Turbine and cat. They're pushing.
Get out if you can.
I have to get C.
We need to fight for camo here.
Going 3 down there. Now coming right off of spawn and trying to make their presence known. Fresh off of that listening, 2 things point out to me. Number 1, I love the fact that they're complimenting each other. Nice. Love that kill. Love that. But in number 2, I also love the fact that they're also talking about what lines of sights they're blocking, what they're doing on the map. What stood out to you and why?
So the biggest thing is Collect, right? Oxygen just go 4 dead, so that's a big swing right now, and Quadrant are going to be able to maintain this lead. But the big thing for me was a member on this Oxygen roster had told Collect to slow down. Collect is one of those really aggressive players that's able to, he's got that curb slide, he's got that movement, but sometimes you put yourself out of position there. You gotta rein him in, and they're doing just that.
Trying to rein in his Bravo side. Look at the Skynet right off the roof. Look, perfectly landing onto the bat ledge, trying not only getting the kill, but also securing Bravo because of it. Not done yet. A denial grenade comes in, but Triton ends up going down. 2 members for both of the squads. Next round of Slay is going to be so important. How is Chick going to break through the gold side of the map?
The first person he's got to take out is Bohm if he wants to break through. Bohm is in that power position on glass. We talk about it all the time, being able to anchor that. And then Triton on that top tower. They've got the positioning on the map, and Oxygen are trying to utilize that to continue to take these 2 caps.
Quadrant once again losing those numbers, and because of that, Oxygen Esports are able to hold on to their hold on to the game, I should say. Stay within striking distance. Bohm finds another kill. Quadrant once again goes 3 down. That's going to be a triple cap. Quadrant now making their way toward the Charlie side of the map, and Oxygen Esports know exactly where they're coming from.
Now collecting that situation, he's putting a lot of damage in from those blue pipes, but he's got to be careful because he's caught out of position right there, and they're pushing from that long haul. So if he can get out of position, he can play his life. He could potentially be a nuisance, and right now 3 dead for Quadrant. It looks like he made the right play.
Has to play his life, has to stay alive. When this man is being aggressive and staying alive, he's one of the most dangerous players on the map. Watch out for Klep, but watch out the man on screen as well. Boom, 13-7, 5 assists to go along with it. He's one of the swing players, one of the X factors of this game, and Oxygen are starting to look good. They once again get Quadrant 3 down, and you're seeing all of these slays go in favor of Oxygen. It's translating to the scoreboard.
And it took a while to translate, right? Their objective efficiency wasn't as good in the beginning of that game, but now they're starting to convert. They've got 2 caps, they've got a sizable lead as well, and Triton is starting to pop off. That's a scary player for me. The veteran on that roster, really doing work, 16-6.
30 kills between Triton and Bohm right now. These 2 are absolutely controlling the Slays battle and keeping Quadrant on that black screen 8 seconds after 8 seconds after 8 seconds, and eventually you'll run out of time.
They don't want to run out of time, but Oxygen, they want to put this 3rd cap in on a B. They want to pressure with a triple cap once again, forcing the spawns over at that long haul, but they know they've got to come back to A to get that anchor and get the spawns.
They call them Oxygen Esports because they're always pressuring you. They're always in your face. They don't allow you to breathe.
Ooh.
That's why we call them Oxygen. It's Triton trying to get over toward the gold side. Once again, we've seen both Quadrant and Oxygen fighting over this gold side. A flanker comes in, but you cannot get to the defenses undetected. You're hitting those red bars, you're hitting the sonars, you're on radar, and Oxygen are hunting you down.
If you're Quadrant, you can't let that happen. Oxygen had an AC hold, which is so difficult to maintain, but they maintained it for over 40 seconds. Can't happen if you're Quadrant. You got to push through and break that setup instantly.
Quadrant has control, but now it's all about Oxygen Esports. Bohm on screen right now, has to win a piv, doesn't want to get on the Bravo side, not going to do it, takes a bit of team grenade, still doesn't go down, gets the reset, finally they're able to get the kill. 200-point mark has been reached by Oxygen. Now things are starting to heat up. Triton 17 kills to his name, he wants to control the A side, they want to hold on to the double cap, but Quadrant, they stop it.
This is the answer Quadrant needed. They've got positioning on the pipes, but the timing wasn't there. And that's what you like in Chick right there, the X factor, right? Being able to make that low percentage play. He stays alive, and now he's gonna cap A.
Active camouflage coming up, Chick already having the advantages on A. Once he's captured, should be able to get his eyes on it. It's still up, somehow gets the cleanup kill. Love the communication out of Quadrant as they now sneak away with the active camo. Oxygen Esports may have been the first team to hit the 200-point mark, but Quadrant are coming back, and now they have resources.
These resources are scary when they're put together. SLG with the shock rifle camo combo. We're gonna see how he's able to play this. Can he get value out of it is the question. Gets down, 1 down and no shields, but the trade comes out. That's a huge trade right there for your Oxygen.
Oxygen able to take down the IGL. SLG is always so important on the map, not only guiding the troops, but also getting those assists. That's the player you have to take down. You go after the snake's head, and the body just falls.
I talked about Collect being the player to watch here. The man has been through a lot. You know he's on that SSG roster. Been through a lot of roster mania himself, just trying to find a home, and Oxygen has picked him up, and he's definitely starting to gel well with this roster with how little practice Oxygen have. As I say that, they're 4 down, and Quadrant are going to push on to a triple cap here.
Triple cap in favor of Quadrant at the moment. And look at the scoreboard, it's getting tighter and tighter. Quadrant should be able to steal the lead off of this, and right in the end game, we're in the fourth quarter. You can't choke this.
Yeah, Quadrant's got the momentum right now. Oxygen have to break that momentum at this very moment, and it looks like they have no chance to do so. Look at that, 3 dead once again. 2:35 and counting for Quadrant. They're looking to take this game number 1.
Quadrant is suffocating them. Oxygen Esports, they're running out of breath right now. You're already at the trip cap in effect. You're starting to now drop like flies. Quadrant, they have the numbers, they have the momentum, they have the advantage, and they have game 1.
That is a huge game 1 for Quadrant right there. We talk about the implications, and they come out clutch when it's necessary. They didn't start very strong there, Tony, but they ended strong. And how you end is what matters the most.
Those who strike first don't always strike last, and Quadrant coming out in the clutch. Come on, I'm not gonna lie, I love me some Quadrant actually. They're a scrappy team. They're young, they're hungry, they're always the underdogs coming over from the EU. Finally starting to get some respect now, but Quadrant, they're the real deal. They're gonna let us know here in North America. Oxygen Esports already finding out, down 0-1 in the series. Question is, how would they respond?
And you talk about EU, right? The fact that they're respected now. That has been so huge. We haven't seen that in Halo's history until this game. And guess what that says? That says we have Halo Infinite as one of the most competitive Halo titles we have ever had. And it shows with how many teams are so close here.
I want to take a look at the stats. 19 kills out of Triton. 18 out of Bohm. You even have almost double-digit assists coming out of both of them as well. So not only doing damage in the kills department, but also doing damage in the assists. They're the ones, it's up to them to really open up the map. Triton is consistently always putting numbers. When I look at Nemesis, I look at Bohm, I think those are my swing players. Those are the ones who pop off. Remember that running right that Nemesis got right on live fight? It was scary. Oh my. Nemesis and Bohm, those are my pop-off players. But Triton, he has to bring that consistency. If he can consistently put up numbers like that, they could take game number 2, maybe game 3, and maybe even game 4.
Let's talk about consistency, right? They win that game number 1, that's Quadrant. Momentum says they could potentially win this Slayer as well. I believe they're 3-1 in Slayers in pool. So Quadrant, a very strong Slayer team. They're favorites to win this next match, but Triton, as a consistent player, it's so huge for your team to be able to depend on you. And right now, Oxygen are depending on Triton to continue to be consistent and those swing players to pop off.
It's funny you tell me that Quadrant is such a strong slaying team, because when I think of Quadrant, I think of objective efficiency. I think of a team that's so well-rounded that it almost seems counterintuitive that they're good at Slayer, but what, they're like 3-0? We've looked at the stats, we've studied Quadrant, are a very good Slayer team. Going into game number 2, they can be up 2-0 in the series. It's up to Oxygen Esports to strike second. It's up to them to force into that swing game number 3, which can be so important. No team wants to fall 0-2 in the series. Reverse sweeps, they're possible, but they're not probable.
And we got to talk about it. Oxygen coming from that open bracket, fighting all the way through. I believe, from what I was told, they only dropped 1 map, and that was to Hunter JJX's team. So they've had a very successful open bracket run, and they look pretty strong here. But Quadrant, they look composed. They want to take the lead in this pool. They want to secure that spot for Worlds, and they want to do it right now. And it all starts with winning 2 games in a row. It'll be huge for their confidence.
It's Quadrant going up against Oxygen Esports, trying to hold on to that 2nd seed into the pool. We're going up. We want to see Oxygen Esports. We want to see Oxygen Esports do some stuff.
Right.
You're coming out of pool play. Yep. You're the underdogs as well. Both of these teams are considered underdogs no matter almost any match they go up against.
Right.
Quadrant obviously having all of Europe on their back. You know what I'm saying? You represent an entire continent. Oxygen Esports, I'm big on them. I'm just saying, you know, I'm just saying, I'm a Patriots fan. Deep down, I'm a Patriots fan.
How big has that changed, Tony? How big is the change? I mean, Common was a great player. You know, obviously, he was on this roster for a very long period of time. He was the last original member of this roster, and now he's gone. Collect comes in. How big of a pickup is Collect on this Oxygen roster?
I think it's big for 2 reasons. Collect is too talented not to be here, number 1. Number 2, like you said, Common was the last common denominator of that Season 1 Oxygen Esports roster. It started off as a star-studded one, and they started off red hot. eventually started to dip down, making a few changes one by one. The original players started to leave, and eventually Common ends up, I believe, on Proton Gaming, and Collect sneaks his way onto the roster, what, a week before the event?
Right.
Now he's here. Now he's putting in work.
I mean, the fact that they qualified for pools just goes to show Collect is definitely on the rise. There's a lot to learn. He's a young player. And with a young player, you got a lot of aggression. You got a lot of confidence. We talked about it a little bit before. Has to be reeled back sometimes. But let me tell you something. I said this yesterday. As an FFA player that's very aggressive, sometimes you got to reel them back. But once you reel them back once, twice, maybe 3 times, they start to learn. They start to learn timing, and they start to learn positioning. And Collect, he's got a big skill ceiling. We're definitely going to see that throughout this season and the next as well.
Live Fire Slayer, gonna be our game number 2. Talk to me a little bit about our keys to success when going into this map.
So it all comes down to that sniper, of course, and the overshield. Those are big. Those are essential. We talk about it all the time, but you have to understand the swing that it gives a team to control those weapons. Oxygen go 3 dead, so no control coming out for them just yet. But that OS is delayed. We got to talk about that. It doesn't come up at the start of the match. So still, Quadrant have a chance to fight for it.
We talk about the big swings. One of the most punishing maps that we have. The moment you go 2 or 3 down, your opposition is going to make you pay, especially with how quick Quadrant and Oxygen Esports tend to play. Oxygen stealing away the overshield quick. We have a player putting their body on the line to make sure that that overshield gets secured. So Quadrant may have controlled the early game, but can they follow it up? Does anybody have eyes on Nurix? How did he just get that flank on? What's going on here?
Nurix is putting tons of damage in from the back line. You love to see that, and not able to be spotted, but only a 3-kill game thus far. Nurix popping off already 4-1, but Collect has got the sniper. He can make things happen with this.
Holding on to the tower side, disciplined actions coming out of Collect. When he starts connecting with these shots, he'll be collecting skulls. Down to 1 shot, he goes, forced to back down. Has the reinforcements that he's looking for. Shad, watch your head. Collect is lining it up.
That's positioning awareness right there, though, right? The minute he popped off those first couple shots, they knew that they could not poke him, but they're being aggressive right now. The curb slide comes out. That's huge by Nurix. He gets a kill, and he stays alive.
Tower side control still being part of. Quadrant, able to take height, able to break through. Oxygen now starting to lose some numbers here. Now, as I say that, another overshield is coming up. Quadrant, they need to get into position. Their skill jump might be unaccounted for. Or not.
12-9 OS coming up in 7 seconds, like you had mentioned, and 2 dead for Quadrant means they potentially spawn on B, so not really maybe having the numbers. Actually, looks like they're going to spawn on A. Shad is in position as well, but look who's there to clean him up.
Where'd he come from? Did he spawn there? Was he hiding behind the box? I don't know where Collect just came from, but once again, it looks like Oxygen Esports are going to steal away another overshield. It's Collect now controlling the sandbag side, forcing a split spawn over towards the back. A, love the high IQ play. Collect getting right into the action. Don't worry about the missed melees. It's okay.
No, that was huge right there by Nurix, Tony, because Collect had overshield. We always talk about the value you get out of an OS. Nurix, in a 1v1 isolated situation, takes out the OS player by himself, and that provides Quadrant with a little bit of momentum moving into this next couple plays, but Bohm has that heat wave. He can make something happen.
Here comes the boom. Oh, I'm sorry. Here comes the boom. I'm sorry. I apologize. Something
okay.
like that. Heat wave in the back pocket. Sniper rifle is coming up. Quadrant have that C side of the map, and that's usually the side that you want to use in order to use that sniper as bait. Can Oxygen Esports still get away with it?
SLG is the first one to die, but Oxygen get 3 trades, make that 4. That's 4 dead off of, Quadrant having the first death. Oxygen Esports end up going 4 dead, and now Quadrant have the power weapons.
20-17 lead in favor of Quadrant. Shad unselfishly sharing that sniper rifle to his team. Make sure that he can go in and watch this angle over toward the overshield side, tagging up the shield to Collect. And Chick from across the map able to pick up the pieces. So great communication and coordination out of Quadrant. They're getting the kills when they shouldn't be. That's going to be a double kill out of Chick. The killing spree before going down. Quadrant surround Oxygen and keep them stuck on the A.
That's exactly what happened, right? You got that big door player like Chick that can come in and pressure from one side, and then you take pressure from another side as well. That was beautifully done by Chick. Perfect timing.
We need more beautiful plays like that. If Quadrant are going to hold on to this lead, if Quadrant are going to go 2-0 in the series, we need that coordination. We need them to create those choke points Overshield coming up. Quadrant already positioned himself well. Oxygen responding way across the map. This should finally be a free overshield for Quadrant when they lost the first two.
And that was a good play, right? They have a guy on top C, taking that tower control. The triple kill comes out of Chad. That's what we like to see. That sends the lead forward, 32-19. Quadrant are ripping them apart.
3 down go Oxygen Esports. We're starting to approach the end game, at least for Quadrant. Can't say the same for Oxygen. But Chad now on screen. Triton isolated and stuck over toward the B side. The assault rifle comes out. It's pretty in pink, and Triton here pretty painted in blood.
Oh, Shad loves this assault rifle. It's so incredibly powerful at a close range. And he's able to utilize that to really break the defenses of Oxygen. 34-21, Oxygen need an answer.
Chick was able to get away with that heat wave. We obviously know how important that can be. Oxygen having to stack numbers now. They have to do anything they can to try to keep each other alive. So they're playing a little bit stacked. They're on top of each other, but hopefully it forces the bait and switch they're looking for. Hopefully it doesn't come off with a beautiful flank by Shad. Backside being taken, able to get the easy kill with the assault rifle. The second one coming in. Shot starting to ring out. Another one goes down here. Shad started to heat up, and we're almost at the 40 kill mark for Quadrant.
How many bullets does that assault rifle have in it? My word, that guy's just pelting everyone with the assault rifle.
36 bullets of pure pain.
Oh, baby. Gotta love it. 38-26, the lead. Quadrant looking to close this game out. If they get this OS, it's coming up in about 20 seconds. That is the bow tie on the present, and they can end this game.
Oxygen Esports cannot afford to lose this overshield. You notice they're starting to slow the game down. They're starting to play for it here. Sniper rifle coming up as well, so you have to dedicate resources to both of these. Don't allow Quadrant to get any resources to increase the lead they already have, but the shots are ringing out. Triton now gonna be forced to back down. Triton ends up getting taken down here. Quadrant lose half of their members, but Oxygen, they're not in position for Sniper. SLG steal it, and now he's baiting OS.
Oxygen are still gonna push in. SLG missing some crucial shots right now. The OS will be taken, I believe, by Oxygen. All of Quadrant are on this B side.
It's a 10-kill lead. Quadrant are quickly approaching the finish line. Oxygen Esports are gonna try to do anything they can to slow them down, but Quadrant are already here. Bone quickly coming out with the OS, able to take down the sniper rifle player. Oxygen Esports now starting to gain advantage. Quadrant coming off of spawn here. Oxygen, this is your time.
This was the best play that they could have made. Bohm getting this overshield is going to allow them to potentially come back in this game. But unfortunately, the OS is gone. The value out of it is null and void. He still ends up getting another kill, but playing his life here is very important.
3 down go Quadrant. I thought this was just about over. Quadrant end up getting full wiped. Oxygen Esports are now moving within position here. It's 42-38, just a 4-kill game. Oxygen are not out of it just yet.
They've got to make sure that there is no trades at all in the rest of this game here. Only a 4-kill game like you mentioned. Trades are not what you want. You've got to get those clean breaks in the kills, and the game is definitely slowed down. Each player, the first one to go down right here on each side, that team is going to push the advantage of numbers.
Down to a snail pace we go. This is the calm before the storm. Nemesis able to get away with that heat wave. Overshield coming up in 20 seconds. That's going to force both of these teams to reposition just a bit. And collect!
Oh my word.
Finds the PO onto SLG. That's the opening they were looking for. Now you're seeing Oxygen Esports quickly moving in position for the overshield. Their work is not done yet. It's just 1 kill. They want at least 1 more to be secure with the chick coming out of nowhere. But luckily, Triton has his back. Just a 2-kill game, and OS is being used as bait once again.
Oxygen did such a great job there. They forced the spawn at A and isolated a player, took advantage of it, got the kill. Now a 1-kill game, 42-43. Oxygen are starting to come back, and Bohm gets a killing spree and a massive melee, and they're gonna get Chad as well.
Killing spree +1, a double kill. Triton now gonna start to pick up the tempo to here with the overshield. This is their time. Oxygen are gonna use Triton as that forward player. They're gonna push Quadrant. They're trying to tie up their series, and it's showing here.
This is so important right now. These next couple kills, Bohm gets the first. Can they collapse, though, on the numbers advantage? This overshield and heatwave combo is going to be deadly. And Triton, the most consistent player on his team, making things happen.
Heatwave getting value here for Triton. Another one, 46 all right now. Triton with that heatwave. Sniper rifle coming up. Oxygen, they're looking up the tempo. Nervous getting caught by himself, has no couple grenades to slow him down, but the nades keep going, and it looks like he ends up going down himself. That's 47 all, just 3 kills needed for either one.
Oxygen are doing such a good job of isolating players, 49 to 48 right now. Oxygen only need 1 more kill, and they've got SLG there. They get it, and that's gonna be it. Oxygen tie up the series 1-1.
What a game. A 50 to 49 win in favor of Oxygen Esports. They couldn't paint it better. Oh yeah, right. That's the script we're following, right? We're gonna go to a game 5. It's gonna be 1-1-1-1. That's how we're gonna do it, right?
Right. You got to do it that way. It makes it more exciting. I mean, Oxygen, they were down. It didn't look good. But guess what was the X factor for them in that game? Those 2 overshields in a row. You get those 2 overshields in a row and a massive point in the game. That's gonna get you that victory. And on top of that, that snipe from Collect opened up everything. A massive play by the young star.
That's a great point. Because although Quadrant had the lead, if they were able to get those back-to-back overshields, you can only imagine they would have been able to widen the gap, and the hole would have been dug so deep that Oxygen probably would have been able to crawl out of it.
Right.
Getting those overshields may have not given them the lead, but at least kept them close enough within striking distance, and eventually Oxygen Esports, they clutch out in the end.
We saw Shad have a massive game, right? Utilizing that assault rifle. I don't think I've seen that assault rifle utilized so much in competitive play, and he was able to get massive kills with it. Quadrant almost clutched it up. It's a 49 to 50 game, just 1 kill from SLG at the end of that game, and we would have had a different scoreline here, but Oxygen come up clutch, and let me tell you something. A team like Oxygen, they're gonna build off that momentum, right? Moving into the CTF Catalyst, Oxygen could be the favorite here.
Going into game number 2, Quadrant were the ones who were known to be undefeated so far today when it came to those Slayers. Sadly, going into CTF, they're 0-1. They haven't been able to find their rhythm so far, capture the flag, but it's only 1 game to go off of, so I'm not going to put so many eggs in those baskets.
Right.
Meanwhile, Oxygen, they're a very good capture the flag team, especially on Catalyst. Their ability to continue to apply pressure, to continue to be on the offense. They had most of the team spending on defense, clearing them out of their base. Once they get the kills, you still have to deal with another round of slays. It's like a horde coming at you over it's like you're playing zombies. They just keep coming off of spawn.
Right, you gotta love that, right? That pressure that can be utilized is so very huge, and you know where that pressure comes from, Tony? It's confidence. It's individual skill as well. All of that plays a factor, and we'll see if it plays a factor here. Oxygen, coming off that victory, they've got to look real good. I want to stick to Oxygen's point of view here just to see how they start this next game. If they're able to continue that flow state from that last one, that momentum buildup is huge.
And just to remind you guys at home, Oxygen Esports, they're the ones who came out of pool play. They're the underdogs. Quadrant, 2nd place in their pool right now and looking to hold on to it. A win right here can guarantee them making it into winner's bracket and also making it into the World Championship.
World Championship is a tournament everyone's playing for. All their eggs in one basket to make sure that they make it to that qualification to qualify for Worlds. This is an interesting play by Collect, right, Tony? He's got the grapple so he can play down bottom center, but he goes and grapples up, and now he's got a flank.
2 down where Oxygen Esports doesn't have exactly the numbers that he wants to work with. The shots are starting to come out. The flag is being pulled, but it's not Oxygen Esports. It's Quadrant pulling the first.
Quadrant get it past the halfway point. Just due to a couple slays. Can they punch this in is the question. They've got a couple slays they need to get. Bohm is the first one in contention.
Those spike grenades come in, but they're not able to get the kill, and Shad able to capture that flag before going down here, but watch out, Quadrant go 3 down. This is now a counter-pull opportunity. If Triton can win his fight, he will pull this flag. Quadrant coming off the spawn. You know they're going to be extending. You know they're going to be blocking these lines of sight. And hold on, he's running the flag right to the spawners. Here come Oxygen.
That is a lot of faith in his team, and Quadrant weren't ready for it. Chick was facing the other way, having to take care of another member of Oxygen. The pressure you talked about earlier is so very strong, and because of that, they get a late counter cap, which is a very low percentage cap, but they make it happen.
Oxygen Esports able to tie up the game despite Quadrant striking first, and now we're going to see who strikes second, who strikes best. Oxygen taking control of the skewer side of the map. Nades start to fly. Quadrant off the spawn. It's a 2v2 at the moment. Triton lining up the commando. No sights on him. Able to get the easy kill. His teammate followed up. He's not done. The man is out for blood. And bait and switch on a chick. And just like that, Oxygen go 4 down. Shad's the only player alive on the map.
The only player alive on the map, and he goes down as well. That's a burned OS. That is huge in favor of Oxygen right there. I think they're going down for that overshield. It is still down in the bottom of the map. They want to make sure they pick that up because that's going to be a huge swing. It's tied 1-1.
Tied 1. Next cap to decide, even with 9 minutes and 31 seconds. We know how hard it is to capture flags on Catalyst. Oftentimes, we don't see 5 caps. Oftentimes, it'll end 2-1 or even 3-2. Shad coming in early with the overshield. Already making his presence known. Finds himself a kill onto 1. Finds Collect, who's going in for the flank. That's going to be an easy back-to-back. Bowman's trying to stay alive over toward the back right-hand corner and is able to milk his life as Quadrant go 3 down.
It's so important to stay alive in Halo Infinite. When you got spots like that on the back of flag that you can just kind of cower towards, you're able to play your life so incredibly well. With the communication, they're able to make sure that Bohm stays alive, and they're going to be able to utilize him to push this advantage.
The Bowmans are going down. We switch gears over towards Shad, doing a great job of staying alive himself, and that's when an individual gunfight, he's able to do so. Collect the first one, hit the black screen. Shad continues to apply pressure. Actually, got his teammate in check. He wants to work a little 1-2 combo. Hold on, we have another rat. All rats have to be exterminated. Shad not aware of it. Shad ends up going down. He thought that was a free flag.
I told you the importance of that spot, and guess who's using it once again? It's going to be Bohm. 2 times now, he's made some massive sneaky plays. Agreed, and this time, unfortunately, it comes to bite him as they push this flag and push it towards that halfway portion of the map. The sword, of course, not being utilized here. It's G8.
Check still advancing his flag forward. So far, hasn't taken any damage whatsoever. Up the ramp he goes. Where's Oxygen Esports? They haven't been able to make it on the opposite side. It looks like Quadrant gonna go up 2-1 so far in the game.
But I will say, based off of the play we've seen thus far, Oxygen are more of a scrappy flag kind of team. They do have this OS, though, so maybe we see a structured run here. But it's going to be up to Bohm to get that very first pick with a skewer.
Here in North America, we've been able to see more of Oxygen Esports. I'm happy we get to see Quadrant right now. There's a reason why they're the #2, and sometimes they look at #1. In Europe, they were able to go to Game 7 with Ascend on land. Now they're looking to go after Oxygen Esports and secure their spot in the winner's bracket. Boom, looking to slow them down. That skewer might help them.
Quadrant take the lead in this game for a reason, and they're looking to take the lead in the series. But it's going to come down to these massive picks. Unfortunately, Bohm is going to fall there and kind of tell that story, but Collect gets another one dead. That's 3 dead momentarily, but like you said before, they've got to reslay.
Quadrant, they want to capitalize off of those numbers. Oxygen wants to capitalize off of Quadrant going down. You're seeing them start to get aggressive. You're seeing Triton already in the base of Quadrant, having to back down, stay alive, pull back towards his team. Just a bit of a regain as they look to push forward once again.
I like the ability of Triton to stay alive in this situation. And to be able to still put damage in like that. A lot of players, when they're thinking about staying alive, they're just staying back in a corner, not really being the pressure on the map. They're not being present on the map. But the ability to put damage in, if you can, with the openings you have, is huge. And also staying alive is huge.
Overshield coming up. Easy shots from Collect. Making it towards the base. He's able to get that early pull, but they don't have the kills that's needed. So far, this flag's going to make it toward the midway point, and he will be forced to fight. We do see a bit of a standoff. Quadrant having one. Oxygen having the other. Collect immediately going in for the challenge on the Shad. Shad forced to take height, and Collect continues to move the flag forward.
He's not going to be able to get that flag very far, though. He's got a couple of players that can contest. He's got to make sure to get the slays. It will be a little bit of a standoff here. Chick has that skewer in hand, and again, skewer is such an important weapon. With that sword not being in play, utilizing that skewer to get those first couple picks is so very huge if you want to cap the flag. And right there, look at that. They tied up 2-2. Oxygen looking to come back in this game.
The return comes in. We have a tied up game, 5 minutes and 32 seconds left in regulation. Triton back on screen, not able to win his pivotal fight. Shad puts him down, and now we switch gears over towards Bohm, having 2, if not 3 players in front of him. That's where he thrives, though. Gets himself 2, but eventually Quadrant overwhelmed him. Oxygen go 3 down. That means Quadrant are running a little flag.
It's up to Triton right now, the last player alive, to put as much damage as he can again and make sure to play his life at the same time. He's going to be the overextender here, but he cannot go down early.
Oxygen stacking numbers. Flag moving forward. They're able to get the nades off. Oxygen Esports able to stop him just a bit, but Quadrant dive onto it, and just like that, it's a 3-2 lead going in favor of Quadrant. They go 3 down themselves. Nurix gets himself a double kill. The man is a one-man wrecking crew. Oxygen can't get the counter pull in time because of Nurix being an absolute nuisance.
That's what I was going to mention. Nurix getting that double kill really delays that counter cap. It doesn't allow them to pull off of their numbers advantage. Beautiful play by Nurix. That's almost that game-winning play as well as they're up in this game, but unfortunately, they go 3 down, and this flag is going to be pulled.
They talked about Oxygen Esports being so scrappy, and that's what we're seeing out of them. They are scrapping. They are winning these fights. It's not pretty, but it is tough. Oxygen now trying to tie up the game. The nades are coming in. Quadrant have some overextenders in. Bowman's going to try to get this flag forward here. Now, actually, he's going to throw back down. He knows they're in his base. He knows that they're 3 down. He knows that Quadrant are pulling a counter.
Getting that grapple was essential, but unfortunately, Nurix again with another big play. That flag is going to be returned. They're going to get a little bit of a counter cap here, past the halfway portion of the map. I thought he was going to make that grapple play, but the grapple is not in play at this point in time, and Chick looks like he's going to get this flag in.
Down to 1 shot he goes. Oxygen are still in position to make this as hard as possible for Chick to run it in. Boom ends up getting a double kill off the screen. Chick is going to try to advance it forward, try to relay it, but Quadrant end up going 3 down. Oxygen not only get a pull, but they're working on the return.
And this is what some of the top tier teams do that is different from, I wouldn't say lower tier teams, but teams of this caliber, is that they don't over-aggress, they don't overcommit on a flag cap. And unfortunately, you're seeing a lot of overcommitting here, and that's why it's a back and forth on these flag pulls.
Still a 3-2 lead in favor of Quadrant. Oxygen desperately trying to tie us up. We have 3 minutes on the clock, but eventually I feel like that'll go down real quick. Oxygen must be feeling the pressure. They know they need to make a move right here, right now.
That perfect is going to be huge by Nemesis because that's 3 dead for Quadrant. They're going to try and get this return potentially, but they've got spawners to deal with.
Screwy coming up. Bone wants to get those first hands on. Looks like he's going to use it, get aggressive almost immediately. If he can find an easy pick with this, this could be huge for Oxygen. Line it up. Ends up shooting right between the legs. Not able to connect. Bone forced to back down. Down to 1 shot he goes, and all of Quadrant are looking for him. They can't last long on that.
4 bullets in that skewer. Every single shot is vital to the success of whoever is wielding it. And Triton, the most consistent player on the team. You mentioned it over and over again. He's constantly in a position to get those kills that are necessary to pull the flag.
Quadrant go 3 down. Oxygen off of spawn have an opportunity to fight for that 50% map control. Triton grinding forward here. He might end up running into 3 members of Quadrant, so he does have to be careful. Collect off the screen, trades out his life. Nemesis gets another trade as well. Quadrant go 3 down. There's only 1 more player as a line of defense in order to defend this flag. Boom has to win the fight, not able to do so. That's gonna slow them down just a bit. And just in time for overshield.
Yeah, these next couple kills are important again. They've got to make sure they stay alive so they can contest for this OS. It's really up to Oxygen at this point. Being down 2-3, this next cap is very important for them. That means they've got to get these 1v1 pivs as well, and it looks like Bohm does just that.
Bohm goes down. 2 down for each of the teams here. We switch gears over towards Triton, who's trying to defend this flag from going forward. The overshield ends up getting shredded. The return doesn't quite come in, so both of these teams still fighting. Chick ends up making it forward. Where is everybody from Oxygen? That could have been a return, but Chick got himself a little bit of a relay.
Again, it comes down to the aggression, right? The aggression to collect right there. He puts himself out of position, thinks he can take that play, but unfortunately he's not able to, and they're not able to really pressure. But a big kill by Nemesis and a potential double could really get this flag returned and potentially give Oxygen the advantage. But they've got to get the kills, and they do just that. 3 dead for Quadrant.
This standoff started at 3 minutes and 30 seconds, but the return comes in, and with just 52 seconds of regulation, we have a tied-up game. Quadrant doesn't want to see an overtime. Oxygen are good with it. 45 seconds, the flag is on the move. Pay attention to that time.
Such a massive string of kills right there from Bohm. Being able to get that damage in and still being able to get that return. But it all came down to teamwork, pinching from multiple areas as well.
Multiple areas being surrounded here, and because of that, Quadrant are able to get the pull they were looking for. That flag is on the move, trying to able to clear out his base, but he's just a step behind. Quadrant already had that flag forward. He's gonna toss it over towards a teammate, turns around to put in the work onto Triton. We have another standoff on our hands. We will see a sudden death, and it's 1 cap to take it all.
But they got a kill onto Oxygen. SLG was playing that corner angle and got a back smack on a Nemesis. He's going to go down pretty early here. Can they take advantage of these numbers is the question.
Big kill by Bohm. Obviously, that would have been a return if he lost that pivotal. He knew that he had to get it, putting his 25th 12 assists to go along with it. And now we're seeing him drop. We're seeing him actually pull the goalie as Oxygen are now starting to get really aggressive. Chick getting caught on an island. A Quadrant ends up going 3 down. Chick is now starting to get naded left and right, able to get 1 kill, but the pressure's still coming. Trades out his life, and Quadrant come off his spawn. Touch that flag. Oxygen, they needed to execute on that one.
Quadrant are doing such a good job of making sure to trade those kills when it's necessary. They don't always win those 1v1s, but they always make sure if they go down, they get the trade, and they did it there, and that was huge to keep these 2 flags in play.
Brian pushing up on the sword side. Gonna back down just a bit here. Collect ends up going down. Nemesis finishes off his kill. We do see Oxygen able to clear out that base. So Quadrant and Oxygen doing a great job of getting aggressive. Doing a great job of getting into each other's base and getting in position to get the return. The problem is they're both clutching it up off of the defense.
The defense is important. Being able to trade, being able to get those initial kills as well. 1 down for Oxygen. Still a little bit of a standoff here. That skewer is up though. If someone can utilize that, they can really open up the map.
Trying, going a bit airborne to stay alive. Landing right behind Nurx onto the flank. Excellent shots onto him. Gonna trust his teammates to get the kill onto that one. The assist goes in. Oxygen now gonna get a little fancy with it. Trying around the map he goes. Only has 2 grapples to work with, so has to hit it literally pitch perfect. Able to do so. Chick is not ready. The shots are gonna come in, followed by the nades. Hold on, Chick is gonna go down. Train's on the return. He's still full shield. If he can get this kill, he can get the return, but there's 2 members of Quadrant trying to push him out, and it looks like they're able to relay the flag once again. Another great offensive play by Oxygen. Better defense by Quadrant.
Again, Quadrant has consistently had the better defense. That play was great by Triton, but maybe a little bit of small talk to tell your teammates that you're making the play around the back of the base. Maybe one player can come in with you. You guys can get a double team and essentially just make that flag return 100% happen.
I'm sticking with the flag in hands right now as we see yet another standoff. This sudden death has probably lasted about 10 minutes now. At least that's what it feels like. Off the screen, Triton wins his battle against SLG. That gives Oxygen momentary numbers. We're seeing a bit of trouble here. We're seeing actually Quadrant forced to rotate that flag over towards the mid-map here. They realize that Oxygen are starting to really push forward.
The problem is that they're pushing it towards the mid-map because of the cross shot from the other side. They're trying to get a little bit of assistance here, but when you have Triton winning those beautiful ones and again almost getting the double kill, it becomes really impossible. He's gonna try and get this return, but stopped once again. Nurx, the clutch player, the last player alive, make sure to stop that return.
Your team goes 3 down. Your team needs you to make a play, and Nurx does it once again. Boom! Comes in beautifully with the skewer. The flag getting grappled out of the way, though. Chick now gonna stay height. Boom ends up going down. That's gonna be another huge play here by Quadrant, but Oxygen are not letting up, and Chick ends up going down. Nemesis back on the return, halfway done. Able to repulse Nurx back. The return comes in. Oxygen Esports are now gonna move that back. I'm not sure anybody on Quadrant is here. Finally, Oxygen Esports able to end the game and take the series lead.
We've got to talk about the implications here. If Oxygen Esports win this series, they tie Quadrant in pools. That's huge, right? Again, second place in pools is going to qualify for Worlds. So they put themselves in a position to tie. And then it comes to the rest of the pool play to make the decision at the end of the day. But Oxygen doing a making a really good step to giving themselves that edge.
We know what's on the line here. Oxygen Esports gained the lead against the favorites in Quadrant. Like you said, they were looking like they were almost guaranteed second seed going into today, but Oxygen say, hold on, we got something for you.
Yeah, and I really think Collect is the player that's kind of brought this to fruition, right? He's that aggressive player, and you see Oxygen, they're very scrappy like we talked about. They're very aggressive as well, and they're able to utilize that aggression to outslay. Their objective efficiency could be better, and I will say that, but they're still winning the series, regardless of their objective efficiency. And regardless of potentially maybe a little bit of communication issues, they are the underdog in this series, coming from open bracket, and they're looking to continue to put on a show.
Looking at these stats, my eyes immediately get drawn to Bone. 31 kills, 15 assists, a 16.0 KD. Absolutely impressive. Oxygen Esports, they needed somebody to step up. They needed somebody to be that swing, be that X factor, and clearly it was Bone.
Another player I want to kind of focus on for Oxygen, if we can, is Triton. We mentioned how consistent of a player he is. 7,800 damage. To be able to input that much damage on the map, we saw he was just able to pressure. And, you know, at times, pressure alone. That very last play, Tony, we saw it. It was incredible. Going around the back of the base with the grapple, he almost made a play to return the flag, but no one home to help him out. Regardless, that damage is vital. And he put a lot in.
Game number 4 going to be King of the Hill on Streets. I nicknamed this King of the Power Weapons.
Hey.
If you're going to punish your opponent, if you're going to hold on to those hills or even maybe break a setup of your opponent,
right, it
has to go through the rockets. It has to go through the Bulldog. You have to make use of the equipment. Controlling the sandbox is going to be key. I guess that's for all the Halo Infinite, but especially Streets.
Yeah, when you talk about Streets, you always got to bring up the power weapons, you know, the equipment as well, that thruster, that drop wall. It's all being utilized a lot more nowadays, right? In the beginning of Halo Infinite, we didn't really see people always having equipment in their back pocket, but nowadays, you just know that you need to pick that up. You need to, you know, put that in your pocket because your pockets are empty otherwise, right? Why not take the advantage? Your pockets are always empty, Tony. But why not take the advantage? I really do think that we've kind of evolved, but I think we'll continue to evolve because a lot of players, when you enter a fight, for instance, right, and someone has that thruster, there's that big blue streak behind them. A lot of players don't really notice that right away. If you notice that, maybe you don't take that fight.
Active out here giving free game to y'all. Make sure you bring it into your next ranked matchup as we go into our game number 4, possibly. The last game that we'll see. The music gets me excited. I'm not going to lie, man. It's nice. It's Quadrant going up against Oxygen Esports. Oxygen 1 game away from pulling off the upset. Quadrant trying to hold on to their 2nd seed. We know what's on the line. Now I want to know, how does Quadrant tie us up and send us to a game 5?
Quadrant have to play that solidified game that they've consistently played, and on King of the Hill, that's going to be a strength for them, right? They're able to get these setups, and the setups are going to be utilized, and they're going to be taken when these hills come out. But this very first hill, very important. You've got to get these power weapons. You got to make sure that you take control of this very first hill and make an impact early.
I got the chance to talk to Trey Try not too long ago, and he told me, watch out for Triton. The dude is a playmaker. The dude is absolutely dominant, and in his exact words, he's going to make some nutty plays. That's what he said, nutty plays.
I love nutty plays. Very entertaining to watch, but 3 down for Oxygen is going to be the storyline here. And look who's playing slow. This is what you like to see. The most aggressive player on the team, having that discipline, it's very important.
Being able to change up the tempo, slowing things down when it matters most, speeding up with the rest of your team, that's what's important. Because of that, Quadrant ended up going 3 down. Oxygen gaining the numbers advantage they were looking for. Shad able to get a kill off of spawn, excuse me, Oxygen able to get that control, but Quadrant off the spawn can do the exact same thing. They can put on you.
That control is important. Quadrant starting to maintain that. So many entrance points, but the thing on Streets is we talk about how small of a map it is. And you're able to kind of manipulate spawns in such an easy way just by positioning correctly. So we're going to see teams definitely do that. Quadrant has the lead right now, a little bit in this hill. But this first hill is always anyone's. And it comes down to, again, who controls that sandbox.
Quadrant positioned himself really well, not only to punish those spawns, but also to surround this hill and block all lines of sight. Of course, as I said, if Nemesis breaks through, you know, I got a big mouth, and oftentimes my big mouth gets me in trouble.
Your big mouth is also very entertaining, Tony. And that's what so many people love. 3 down for Oxygen Esports. Brian, unfortunately, that's what you don't like to see right there, right? You're pushing off a staggered spawn. Maybe he got some communication that players were weak, but the fact that he goes down here means that Quadrant can potentially solidify this first hill.
Halo Infinite is one of the ultimate team games. There's only so much you can do by yourself. Remember back in Halo 5, you can make some individual plays. Right now, it's about the bait and switch. It's about sticking together. It's about the coordinated pushes, and that's what we need to see out of Oxygen Esports. 3 down, go Quadrant. Once again, Chick being left by himself. That's what we want to see out of Oxygen.
Yeah, and again, that came down to Triton with the rockets, right? Using those rockets effectively is the thing. You can get rockets all you want all day, but if you miss them like me, you're not going to get any value out of them. You're not going to get any kills. Quadrant put the very first on the board, and that's exactly how you want to start this game, especially when you're down 2-1 in the series.
I often talk about it's okay to go down as far as the king of the hill, but you have to be set up for the next hill. Quadrant able not only to steal away that hill #1, but also get first lines of sight over toward the subway. Oxygen Esports now forced to take a break, now forced to break them out, and I guess they're able to do so. Quadrant go 2 down, and Oxygen still subway control.
Quadrant, unfortunately, is going to go down there again. It's a 2v2 situation. This plot is pretty easy to control if you can kind of get a flow, but they've got to get those first couple kills. They've got to maintain control and force those spawns at PD. Then they get control of Tram, and they're able to solidify a hold. But it's going to take a lot of slays here. 2 rounds of slays will make it happen. But unfortunately, it's a lot of trades going on at this point.
If you need a lot of slays, Quadrant can do just that. We know how good they are in Slayer, and with that 3 down go Oxygen Esports, and Quadrant now holding on to the subway side. But look at that angle that Collect is able to collect from across the map over from the A side over towards C, but all he did was put a beacon on his head. They knew exactly where he was going.
I like Collect's idea right there, though. He knows the player is on benches. Very difficult to take a player off of benches, so he hopes that one of those spikes will jump into the player and get the cleanup kill. Oxygen Esports are starting to slay well here in the latter half of this second hill. They have got to continue to do so if they want to maintain it, and it's going to come down to weapons like this Bulldog.
Quadrant better be careful. You don't want to lose hold of that shotgun, especially when the rocket launcher's coming up. Rockets end up being stolen away by Collect, but down to 1 shot. He goes, the nades continue to fly. Collect fires off a warning shot. The second one is going to connect. And it looks like Oxygen may be able to tie things up. They're taking the lead in this hill.
Got to make a point to say that Oxygen have had the last 2 rockets, but don't have the lead in this game. They don't even have 1 hill just yet. Those rockets have got to be capitalized on. You can get the kills with them all day, but if it doesn't turn into hills on your side, the value is just null and void.
Nervous going to push up the strong side. The B side streak going to be taken hold by Nervous. SLG right up the middle, but Nemesis opened up with a huge kill. Oxygen able to steal away that C side before Quadrant get in position. So now Quadrant forced to punt that hill, set up for the next one, block these lines of sight, but that's really hard to do when Collect has the Sentinel beat.
That's a good tie right there. I was a little worried that they'd have the control of the 2 rockets, the last 2 rockets in the game, but not be able to get any hills out of it. They finally get 1, but the problem is that Quadrant has a full setup on the A side of the map.
Quadrant holding on to that setup, blocking every line of sight, anticipating where Oxygen Esports are going to be coming from. Chick opens up with a double kill. It's really hard for you to break setups when you're 3 down. It's really hard to break setups when Quadrant continues to pressure you. Chick already watching Oxygen off a spawn. The moment you get spawned up, that's when you have reticles trained on you. That's tough to deal with.
Yeah, how are they going to cross? How is Oxygen going to cross Purple Street? They've got to send a player on the flank side, and they send 2 right now. This is the break that happens here. 2 down right away, make that 3, and it was all off that B side break.
Complete squad wipe. Going in favor of Oxygen Esports. Quadrant not to come off a spawn and make such a long rotation, and its bomb already extended forward. He should get first couple shots on Shad, anticipating that there's more players coming, so he's gonna take it a bit slow, dance around that pole like you know what you're doing, Boom. Going after the rockets, there's no way he gets a free rockets 1 shot. There's no way he gets a free rockets while 1 shot.
And we're talking about it again. This is the 3rd rocket Oxygen have gotten. But it looks like they're going to lose this hill as well. Quadrant have been able to play massive defense even when Oxygen Esports had that power weapon control.
You lose rockets, you lose control. Oxygen Esports, that was your moment, and you're not able to take advantage of it. Because of that, Quadrant go 2-1.
Those rockets have to be, you can't just put out rockets just to get kills. They've got to be important kills. They've got to be break kills. Oxygen had 1 great break on that B street, but since then haven't really been able to put a foothold on the map. They've got to make sure to get that initial kill like they have 2 right now and set up quickly.
It's a 2-1 lead in favor of Quadrant going into this 4th hill. Tell me how important this hill is going into that bottom mid hill. What does this mean for Oxygen?
That bottom mid hill is pretty much chalked. If Quadrant can get this 3rd hill right here, or sorry, yeah, this 4th hill right here, and it goes to the bottom center, what's going to happen is Quadrant is just going to start slaying. They're going to keep you out of the hill. That hill's very difficult to get. They're going to keep you out, and they're going to win the game based off of time.
Time will become a factor, even if it moves with a whole minute and 32 minutes. At this point, Oxygen, they need this hill. They need to treat it like it's the last two, it's their last opportunity, because it very well may be.
It's all about this power weapon control, and right now Quadrant has had it. Besides the rockets, Quadrant has had every single power weapon and all the resources. 3 down for Oxygen, make that 4, and it's a tie game now for Oxygen. He got that hill at the very last second. Collect, beautiful play by him. He ties it up and gives Oxygen a chance here.
Of course, we're going to see a hill number 5, because if Quadrant able to win, we'll see a game number 5 here. This is a deciding hill to possibly decide the series. Oxygen just 1 win away from being able to upset Quadrant, who's trying to hold on to that second seed. Collect, sitting on that bottom C side. You talk about that positioning so much.
Yeah, Collect is shooting like a mouse and keyboard player cross range right now. It's so beautiful. He's able to get so much damage in when those rockets are coming up. But yes, when you're on that bottom center hill, it's not easy. You got to make sure that you anchor that tram spawn.
Collect staying alive under the purple street. It looks like there's a trade that goes on to the seaside, but Quadrant controlling that subway that you talk about so much. Collect tries to break through, but it's not going to happen. Chick has a bulldog, and he's going to defend it for dear life.
2-2, Quadrant halfway through. But Chick having this bulldog means that he solidifies this hold on the tram, and he does it easily. This bulldog makes such an incredible impact. Let's see if Chick can play his life here. Unfortunately, he cannot. That's a big kill for Oxygen.
Oxygen not only getting the kill onto Chick, but also stealing away that bulldog. You talked about how important that is, especially in the close quarters. That mid-hill, I feel like it's only close quarters at times. Shad wanted to get aggressive real quick. No team able to get complete control over that middle hill. It's just indicative of how tough it is to gain any kind of control. Quadrant go 2 down, Quadrant go 3 down. Oxygen, get your butts in the hill.
And what happened right there with that 3 down was the fact that Shad, he went in. It was a good play. He had the flank position, but he went in too early. We talk about timing all the time. Chad, a second off of timing, and it means 3 dead for Quadrant, and potentially the hill coming up next for Oxygen.
Timing is key. And as of right now, the way Oxygen Esports are playing, it may just be their time to shine here. Again, the team that's coming out of pool play to try to upset Quadrant. Oxygen Esports, they're so close to stealing away this hill.
Power weapons once again in the hands of Oxygen. Nemesis with this bulldog, and there it goes. He gets a double. That's going to be huge. That's going to be 3 dead for Quadrant. Make that 3 dead again. And they're going to get this potential hill. They've got to look for the spawns now and reslay.
Quadrant now going to start to scramble off a spawn here as Oxygen Esports just a few ticks away from stealing it just like that. A 3-2 lead going in favor of Oxygen. 1 hill away and just 1 minute on the clock.
Now we're back to B Street. B Street, very high contention. It's on the highest level of the map. Defending this is very vital. If you're this Quadrant roster, you've got to tie this up right now. Because if you don't, Oxygen are going to take the series.
3-2 lead in favor of Oxygen Esports. Shad does end up finding his way into the hill, but does he have the help that he's looking for? Because you know Oxygen are always trying to push up the driveway side. They deal with 1, multiple members now coming over towards A. The moment Oxygen is spawning up, they're pushing you. It's up to you to get the slaves.
We've really got to set the storyline here, Tony. Right now, Quadrant, if they don't win this, Oxygen will tie Quadrant in their pool. Top 2 in the pools go to Worlds. Worlds is the biggest event of the Halo year. It is important for Quadrant to get this next hill and tie this up right now with 45 seconds remaining. This is it. They've got to make sure that Oxygen don't end them here.
But Quadrant are already 60% done with this hill, and there's still plenty of time on the board. It's up to Oxygen now to keep them out. And if they're able to slay out for 43 seconds or gain some time of their own, Oxygen still obviously have an opportunity to win this 3 down go Quadrant. Oxygen now going to start to gain control, and now they have to look at every line, make sure where the spawn is coming from, where's that pressure coming in.
Nemesis in position to look at the spawns at C, and he's in a great position. We talked about the cross shot before. They opt to push A, the rotation will come through. If they opt to push purple, he'll be aware of it. A game of timing and a game of chess is what Halo is. That's why it's so entertaining to watch. 4 caps will win. Quadrant are 3 down. This could be it.
Quadrant had such a big lead going into this hill. Now we're seeing Oxygen Esports in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. They're literally 1 or 2 round of slays away from stealing it. Quadrant, they have to start to get aggressive. They have to start to get into the base. They can't go 3 down here. That's exactly what happens because of that. Oxygen Esports not only get the win, Oxygen Esports are sending Quadrant down the pool.
That was such an incredible play by Oxygen Esports. We're talking about a team who just picked up Collect. They just picked him up. and he's performing, and he's gelling with this team so very well. What an incredible, they had rockets at the end. I don't know if you saw that. Quadrant had rockets at the very end of that game, and because of a little bit of a timing issue, and because they weren't able to get the initial slays, Oxygen just piled on the hill and got that fourth one. That was a very close game.
Tim, I'm gonna be honest with you. Quadrant were dominating that final hill for so long. Literally, we talked about near zero progression on that hill for Oxygen Esports, and Quadrant might have been, what, 60? Almost 70% done?
Yeah.
That should have been Quadrant. Quadrant should have been able to tie it up and move over towards Subway. Eventually, they lost control one time. Never gained it back. Oxygen Esports pull off the upset. We thought Quadrant were locked in for C2. Nothing's given, only earned in Halo Infinite.
I love that. Nothing's given, only earned. And honestly, Oxygen have earned that win. They played incredible. We talked about such a scrappy team, right? That was no scrap. That was solidified setup. An individual place that caused that win to happen.
I want to remind you guys at home, again, we're talking about Oxygen Esports coming out of pool play. We're talking about them doing everything right in order to make it into the championship Sunday. They didn't start here like Quadrant did. They did not start here over in pool play. They had to fight through the gauntlet that was open bracket. They come in warm. They come in decisive. And they go right at Quadrant. Take a look at the series layout, 250 to 208, game number 1. 50 to 49, both the games so close, 4 to 3 on CTF Catalyst. And then finally, that King of the Hill Streets